My
boss
does that now, the paper, she'll send out everything, like the whole, because of course we work off of an email chain, and she'll send it out and forget the attachment.
I actually do it more often than I'd like to.
It's your first time though.
Yeah, I've been solid lately. But yeah,
I will tell you, spring around.
Okay, I'll call this meeting of the County Commissioners order for Tuesday, October 9, 2018. Please join me to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me to share a prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom in deciding those things that affect those that we represent. We ask that you in a special way watch over those protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Herschel?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy? Commissioner Thomas?
here.
Okay, any adjustments to the agenda? I will approve or accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the other session, the previous session, October 2nd.
So moved.
And I will second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy? Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes, now any adjustments?
Did you
Okay.
bring up
Yes.
next week's meeting?
Yeah, I do. I've got that here, time of next week's meeting. I guess we'll start out with that. If it's okay with you, Commissioner Thomas, I'd like to move that meeting to 7:30 as opposed to 7. We've got a meeting at 5:30 that will be awful tight trying to get there. And Loudon is the furthest township, and Hopewell, Loudon, so get out there, it might take a while. So if we can change that time and let the press know that the time's changed to 7:30 for the media. Okay.
I did reach out to Loudon. They know.
I think she did.
Okay.
Do you have the address? Did you bring that in here with me?
I see that we have HSA on the agenda, but I'm not sure that without Commissioner Stacy here to talk about it's appropriate at this point.
She's on the committee, right?
Yeah. I mean, my thought is to approve what the committee recommended. I know that Commissioner Stacy will have some time to review that. I'm not sure where you're at with it.
Yeah, I guess give her the chance to get back with her information.
Okay. All right, so we'll put that back on the agenda for next Tuesday. Any other old business? Okay, we'll get right into new business then, approving the supplemental appropriations and adjustments.
Let me move this on the calendar before I forget. We'll have to call OSU. They didn't schedule, but I think it should be okay for 7:30.
Yeah, we can get this done by 10:15. We got them coming in at 10:15.
All right, bear with me because we're trying to use the system again for these resolutions. I think I have them all printed. Resolution, this is an example of the resolution that we're going to try to intend to use going forward once they get the supplemental appropriation and appropriation adjustments set and ready. They're working to the point that I have to wait for the board to approve them. She's working on the workflow, so it goes to you three, so that's why we're still doing a resolution. But we're gonna have it worded, basically approving all supplemental appropriations and appropriation adjustments submitted through the VIP system for the board session of, which would be today, October 9th.
So we would have those in advance to review and then ask any questions about them when we got here.
Yes, supposed to be able to.
Are we doing any dollar limits on that or anything over X dollars?
You'll still be approving them. We'll still go over them in session. The only one that we have in place that I can approve is the appropriation adjustments. And that's usually just at the end of the year, but I do have the authority to approve the appropriation adjustments. But not the sub-apps. The sub-apps will come to me once I push them through. It'll go to you three to actually vote.
Okay.
But because they don't have that set up yet, we still have to do a hard copy resolution to show your vote.
Well, since we're
Baby
talking-
steps.
All right. Since we're talking about, the budgets were due to you when
October 1st.
and how are we doing?
I have less than half that have been submitted,
Okay.
so,
Good way to cut the budget.
right? My budgets are looking really good right now.
Okay.
So I'll send out a reminder this week, give them by the end of the week to.
Yeah, because I think if there are any with significant changes, we want to have some budget hearings. get them in here and talk about them, so I do think that we need to get that moving. Are there any that you have so far that need our attention as far as some of the discussions about increases or?
No, the ones I've gotten so far have just been their standard budgets. Nothing has changed. I've had a few requests on whether or not we're anticipating any raises, because when I sent out the request, you know, we hadn't discussed it, we hadn't.
I mean, we typically have, like, the Board of Elections in here, and we have, you know, typically have that kind of discussion. Are any of those scheduled, or are we going to?
They're not scheduled now. They're not really asking for any increases. I did get the Board of Elections requests.
Okay.
Once I get them put into the spreadsheet, I'll send them to you. You can see which ones have been submitted.
Okay, I
which
mean, I
ones
use that as an
haven't.
example, because typically we have that discussion, so, all right.
Well, the biggest difference would be TCEP is, you know, asking for additional money. So we've got that draft in. So we should probably have a date on when we have that discussion.
That's the
SIDAC
contract.
contract,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's probably one we should have, you know, schedule. And the other one that I'm interested in is the prosecutor detail.
Oh.
As far as, we took one to the city of Tiffin this past year. I remember that we were going to get some kind of analysis of whether or not that was, we were being adequately compensated.
Well, let's do this. Let's, maybe to help Stacy along a bit, why don't we schedule the last Tuesday of October, first Tuesday of November, as the date that you will bring, that we'll have budget discussions. If there are any larger requests regarding capital improvements and those kind of things, we can discuss them at that point. Or any new contracts that have to be done, so that'll get everybody to the point where they have to have it to you by then for purposes of discussion.
Okay, and that's why we wanted them by the 1st, because Budget Commission is hopefully going to certify revenue on the 6th.
On the 6th of November.
And that's the first Tuesday in November.
Okay.
Excuse me, that's election day too. You'll have a meeting that day?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Let's take up the budget calendar next week when Holly's there, so we can check everybody's calendar, but we'll work backwards on that.
all right, I'm just trying to give you some dates so that people know that we're going to have them in by the time certain. Okay. All right, let's move
Okay.
on with the new business.
All right, so I have a resolution authorizing a fund advance from the general fund to the IDEP fund. It's at the request of the sheriff. It's their grant, it's a reimbursable grant, so they've asked us for an advance. Also for their step fund grant, they're asking for $5,000. I have,
Are these the kind of things that show up in the budget as, under that $1.6 million that I was concerned about?
advances,
Sure.
yes,
Yeah.
that's where that, we've done $1.6 million worth of advances so far this year.
And those are,
And they're good for a year, they're usually paid back within a year.
yeah, okay.
But that's on that revenue report, showing under advances of that 1.6 that's skewing the
Yeah, I
revenue.
had a discussion with you this morning, Commissioner, about the fact that we need to show this year's income and this year's expenses as opposed to advances as part of that whole process.
So that was a 10,000 IDEP, or
Yeah,
there's a 10,000 IDEP and a 5,000 step?
5,000 step, yep. Yep. And then I have the $2,000 sub app with the request of Job and Family Services for their, what did she call it? This is the fun part of not having the paper sitting in front of me anymore. The Foster Child Donation Fund, she got $2,000 donated, so they're putting $2,000 into other expense. And I have also a sub app for 19 cents. This is to put the remainder of the historic preservation grant in place. There was just 19 cents that was missed in there. I have a resolution accepting the resignation of Adam Ingram as EMA Administrator for the Seneca County Commissioners. And I have a resolution appointing Mike Clace as the interim EMA Administrator effective October 3rd, 2018. And I have a resolution authorizing the sale of county-owned property. It's a 1997 Mercury Villager at the request of the County Clerk of Courts. They put it on GovDeals and got $1,850 for it. And that's all I have.
Did I pull the trigger too soon on that proclamation for the young man scout? Do we need to prove that here, or did you already do that?
I think you signed the proclamation. I didn't know if you wanted to wait.
Well, let's put it.
Wasn't that the letter for?
Yeah, that is, I don't know if we're gonna present it to him then, but let's, I don't know, do we need to approve the proclamation?
No, no. But if, it's just if you want to read it.
Let's wait, give him an opportunity to come. If he wants to do that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, hold on to that.
Next
I'll
time.
probably sign that.
Okay.
So we're either gonna present it to him Sunday at the ceremony, or he'll come in here and have it presented.
Okay.
How did the communication go out about Adam? Does that, all the fire chiefs know? Do we have that communication handled?
To the best of my knowledge, yeah, Mike Place was contacting everybody last week to let them know that
Okay.
he's resigned and already has a new position in Franklin County.
He does?
He does.
Okay, so I'll accept the motion to approve the supplemental appropriations and the adjustments.
So moved?
I will second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Slauson? Commissioner Kushner?
Yes. Okay, is Mr. Nutter with us?
Not yet.
Okay, well, he is due in at 10:15, so let us, anything else you had? Okay, open the floor for comments this morning before, may have to cut you off if the folks from Sunny Farms get here. Yes.
Greg Smith, Bloom Township, and in the past, as I've given verbal comments, I tend to miss some important points, so today I wrote it down, so I'm gonna read my comments just to make sure I make all my points. Okay, I'm really disappointed to see the commissioners continue to ignore how devastating the proposed wind turbine debate has been in our rural communities. The debate has turned neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend, and it has even come between family members. The debate is heartbreaking and is ripping out the hearts of our citizens, all for the sake of money. You continue to keep the AEZ in place that will only bring more anxiety and strife to the county. You already have your 2 projects approved for the pilot. Why not stop the problem from continuing to grow? Isn't 143 turbines in the county enough? Have you considered the potential fallout of these actions? My wife and I have supported every school levy, every fire and safety levy, every mental health levy, whenever they were put on the ballot. Given how the wind projects have been shoved down my throat, and now I will be forced to live with the turbines dominating our area for the rest of my life, I can promise you that I will not support any future levies. I predict that I will not be the only one with this view, and suspect that thousands of other voters in the county will have the same reaction. Have you considered these consequences? In the future, when schools need money and they don't get voter support, as far as I'm concerned, the schools can go to ask the wind companies for the money or the county for the money, because they're not going to get it from me. These projects are going to negatively affect our county for decades to come, and this is going to be your legacy. Thank you.
Okay. Any additional comments? Yes.
I just want to invite everybody to the informational meeting that's going to be next Tuesday, 5:30, Camden Falls, with our own Mr. Kirshner, thank you, sir, and Bill Reinecke. And it will be an informational meeting with a presentation by Greg Smith with the up-to-date information. So you will have information to be well informed and see why this is not good for our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Do I have to cover it? I have a letter that I received yesterday, and the timing was with the meeting last night that they had at Bloom Township. I think it was a trustee that said something about drive out to Dunkirk because, you know, pretty much everybody's okay with what's going on out west from us. So this is from the Kindle family. And it says, "This is our experience with windmills." She goes on to talk about when they're bringing the equipment in and the problems that it causes with their family and everything, which I understand is not the same turbine company, so that may be different. So she goes on to say that the roads were totally redone because of the damage done and the traffic on it. The surrounding roads were patched and some are still a mess. Promises were made but never honored with the good neighbor agreements. As they started bringing the items in and the construction started, they sent out letters voiding the contract. They lived there since 2001. They hadn't done anything to their property in the last 10 years for improvement, but their property tax doubled in the last year. Now that the turbines have been operating for almost a year, this is what it's like at our house. It's like we live close to an interstate like 75. There's a constant noise with the windmills. Constant interstate traffic is the only way we can think of how to describe it. We do have the flashing from the blades in the windmills, which blacks out the sun for a second. This depends on the time of day and the season, and the certain times that are worse than others. Pulling the blinds and curtains don't prevent this in any way. It can last for over an hour or so. We had one of the windmills that was hit by lightning during a storm. The house is shook when the blade fell. It took them a month to bring in a new blade. The windmills have flashing red lights that flash at nighttime, and it reminds me of being in an airport. I'm sure there are so many things we are forgetting, but we are always willing to talk to anyone about our experience and to answer any questions that you have.
Donna, you leave a copy of that up front?
I can get you a copy.
Okay.
I can give you her name and number.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hey, real quick.
Yes,
Hey,
Chris.
Shane, I'm just curious, where are we at with the waiver for the townships for us?
Yeah, I haven't made a decision whether I'm signing that or not.
All right. I mean, I appreciate it if you can consider it so townships can have some kind of a say here.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. No, I invite any township trustees that want to talk about it. Maybe we can find a path forward that we're all in agreement on.
Right, I know there's a lot of support for the townships to intervene and speak for the residents of the townships that can intervene, so I think it's important there is some say there and they protect the interests of the townships and the residents.
So we're talking about the conflict waiver. Who's?
I haven't signed.
Okay, is everyone else signed?
Yeah.
All the township trustees?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Holly
Including
signed?
Holly?
Yes.
She signed first.
Any other question? Yes.
I'm just curious, why haven't you signed it?
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay. All right, we will take a short pause here because we do have Sunny Farm scheduled at 10:15 and it is 10:18. I guess we'll give them courtesy of maybe 10 minutes, huh?
Yeah. Recess,
Pardon me?
recess.
Yeah, I guess we'll recess, yeah.